It's absurd that there's a bottle of vodka in front of you or there's a packet of crisps in front of you and it's more powerful than you.
Your second failure is addictive behavior around food, weight struggles, and
Yeah.
addiction.
Is that a failure? I think it is. Yeah. So, I've always had that. So I've always, we know about food addiction. We know about alcohol addiction and drug addiction and food addiction. I think sometimes people are slightly kind of, is that a real thing? All I can tell you is from my experience, it's been a real thing to me. Certainly, how I experienced it has been real. In the inability to control it controlling my life for many, many years. It making me miserable, me feeling ashamed of it. All the things that you would attach to a classic addiction. So I shouldn't have to justify food addiction, but there I am. I'm doing it. I feel it's true, and I've spoken about it once before, and the amount of people who come up to me on the street, by the way, all women and all talking about their partners, every single time. Like a man has never come up to me and said, "Thank you for talking about food addiction," but women come up and say, "My husband listened to this. He played it to me, and he said that's me. That's what I have. That's what I've always had." He said, and I've never felt able to talk about it. Never felt able to speak about it, and it's so ridiculous. This stuff, food stuff. I mean, alcoholics would tell you the same. Just like it's absurd that there's a bottle of vodka in front of you or there's a packet of crisps in front of you, and it's more powerful than you. Okay, it makes no sense. And I always, people are very judgmental in this world, and I always try. I think about myself sometimes and like a big bar of dairy milk. And I think, how can you judge anyone in this world and how they behave or how they act or what their, instant reaction to something is when you are less powerful many times in your life than like a big bar of chocolate in front of you? Because that's absurd. It's crazy, right? It doesn't make any sense. It's like the human mind is crazy, and we've all got human minds and we're all crazy in slightly different ways. So that's my version of it. And it's, it's absolutely been, since I was probably 9 years old, it's been absolutely ever present in my life. Weight, food, where I am in relation to it, where I am in relation to controlling it, where I am in relation to weight, where I am in relation to happiness because of it, hiding it, keeping it hidden, all of that stuff. It's been the sort of the drumbeat of my life.
Thank you so much for talking about it.
Pleasure.
Does it help lessen your own personal shame to talk about it?
Yeah, I don't have any personal shame anymore, because what's the point of it? The addiction is shame. That's the point. It's the same thing, and you have to catch that tiger by the tail. You've got to you have to talk to the shame. You have to get rid of the shame, and it's still hard. If you're a drinker and you haven't drunk and then you drink, okay, the physical act of it is hard already, right? You then feel ashamed of that, and all that shame does is make you drink. And food is the same. So, you'll overeat, you feel shame about that. Shame makes you overeat. It's a spiral. So you have to learn to absolutely just cut it off at the source. And if you do feel shame, just to go, yeah, okay, that's all right. Because shame leads to more shame. In the same way that panic attacks, you panic, then you panic about panicking, then you panic about that. Or if you have anxiety, and then suddenly you get anxious about being anxious. All of these things, and if you've got shame and then you feel shame about being ashamed, there's spirals. And with all of them, you must not panic about panicking. You must not be anxious about being anxious. You must not feel shame about feeling shame. And if you can do that, you've got at least a stopgap that can help you a little bit. It's a sort of first line of defense. So the reason I would talk about it and be comfortable talking about it is because I have to accept that it's okay. I have to accept that it's not embarrassing. I have to accept that if people really told you their secrets, everyone on the street, we're all fucked, right? We've all got terrible things. We've all got stuff that we just think is crazy, is absurd. And it's because we're all human beings. Right? It's quite hard to live on the planet. It's not easy. We're surrounded by millions of other people, all of whom are a bit like us and a bit not like us. I mean, it's hard, and we're surrounded by, stimulants everywhere we go, and we have to get through every single day. It's difficult, and whatever it is that you have to get through the day, if it works for you, great. If it doesn't work for you, at some point you have to sort of look at it and try and deal with it. So anyone at home has any sort of addictive issues, but food is an interesting one because I do think people don't feel able to talk about it. just let it be what it is. Talk to people about it. Tell people. It's amazing. The second you start telling people are like, well, firstly, everyone goes, yeah, we know that. Yeah, we know you have issues with food. We got that. But secondly, they're like, okay, well, what can we do? And it's just any time you're struggling with it, then you've got people to talk to.
You say there's not a day since the age of 9.
Yeah.
And I know you're always several steps ahead of the question I'm going to ask, which is about when you were 9 and what was going on when you were 9 and your dad leaving.
Yeah.
Johan Hari has done some interesting work around addiction and called it a form of alienation.
Yeah.
Do you think that your dad leaving made you feel alienated in some way?
Alienation is not a word that resonates with me, but I imagine he means something similar to things that would resonate with me. I think that it allowed a form of control. It allowed. I mean, firstly, by and large, addiction is running away from your pain, right? So you have a pain that it's impossible for you to look in the eye, and so I was in a lot of pain, clearly, but you know what? I was 9, 10. I don't want to be in pain particularly. I don't want to miss my dad. I want to go, this is okay. Everything's fine. And if you do that, if you start going away from, your true north, who it is you actually are, the further you get away, the bigger leap you have to sort of make back, because, reality and who you actually normally should be, it sort of just gets further and further away. And so anything that can stop you thinking or numb you or anything like that is incredibly useful to you, because if you start thinking, you think, yeah, but hold on, maybe I do miss him, and so surely that would mean, and then you go, oh, actually, I can just hold on, there's some food in the fridge, I'll have that. So it's always running away from pain. It's always that idea that life, that who you're. So 9-year-old me and a different version of me sort of converged at age of 9, and the bit of me that converged was fueled by food and fueled by secrecy and fueled by shame and all of those things. But I was able much later in life to reconnect with the 9-year-old version of me, which is great, because actually whenever in life you have your crisis, whether it's 9 years old, 17 years old, 26 years old, having your crisis at 9 years old, reconnecting with a 9-year-old is really quite a good thing to reconnect with, because it's really pure and funny and loving and curious and interested in the world. So it's rather lovely that I feel a connection with that 9-year-old.
Thanks for tuning in, and if you found this video enjoyable, be sure to check out the full episode on your preferred podcast platform, and make sure you're following How to Fail on social media for additional content and updates.